don't get demoralized if you don't get an offer. Keep putting yourself out there because eventually it works out. For context, I got my offers. One Datadog offer was in Dublin. The other offer from CrowdStrike was in Barcelona, and then DocuSign and Mongo were here in Mexico City. Prospecting into the company is something that I really resonated with me, and I definitely overused the prospecting aspect of it, but which it really worked out at the end. What I did for me specifically is I contacted SDRs within the company, and I asked them.
I'm really excited this week to speak with Juan, who not only just broke into MongoDB, one of the best tech companies in the world, but he also received offers from several market leaders, including Datadog, DocuSign, and CrowdStrike as well. Also unique to Juan's situation, he was actually in Spain when he joined our community and is now based in Mexico City, as I know many of you are international, trying to see where and how you can break into tech sales. Juan's a great example of someone who took it upon themselves to learn everything they could in a short amount of time, but also paired that with a ton of action, some rejection, admittedly, but doing the things that so many others are not willing to do, and it's why he got so many great offers and ultimately landed at MongoDB. Juan, we're obviously really excited for you. Congrats again, and I know everyone watching is gonna get a ton out of this video.
Hey everybody, really excited to speak with Juan this week. International man of mystery. Started in Spain when you joined Higher Levels, and now in Mexico City, recently landed at MongoDB. We're obviously really excited for you and definitely want to dive into your background extensively for everyone's reference. But as a starting point, going back to maybe a couple of months ago, you're starting to look at tech sales. What kind of piqued that interest and what ultimately kind of led you down this path of breaking into tech sales?
Yeah, definitely. No, thanks for the introduction, Eric. So yeah, I graduated a couple months ago, studying economics and finance, which was sort of a very fulfilling experience, studying economics. But eventually I found myself, when I was going to all of these fairies, job fairies, trying to find different verticals to go to, I found myself in sort of wanting a more competitive route. So I started looking over YouTube. I started seeking advice from other people, and I landed on Higher Levels. I landed on one of these videos, just as we are recording right now, and really piqued my interest. Seeing people from a lot of backgrounds, and not specifically, there wasn't like a singular background that people went to tech sales, which was pretty interesting to me. And I started to speaking with a lot of people about the industry and stuff, and I ended up deciding joining Higher Levels, which was probably the best decision I've ever made for my tech sales career. And yeah, but that is where I started before knowing tech sales and everything. I don't know if there's any specifics you want me to go there, but yeah, that's basically where I was at.
Yeah, it's awesome. And I'm curious too, whether it's, kind of early, I'm not sure if you joined Higher Levels immediately, but I am curious, when you started looking at tech sales, you mentioned you're going to these job fairs. Had you tried anything on your own before formally looking for training, or what was kind of that evolution that led up to joining Higher Levels?
Yeah, definitely. So I started reading a lot, doing my own due diligence, reading books on sales, and seeing how it could translate to tech sales specifically. Of course, being YouTube a big platform, I started to see course careers as well. I was between Higher Levels and course careers because there's a lot of promo about course careers and everything. And I eventually contacted them, and they didn't have that full support for people that were outside the US. And I contacted you via the platform, Eric, and you responded real fast. Everything was like really transparent in a way that was way easier for me to decide to going into the platform and joining the training, which was amazing. Definitely worked out.
Nice. I love it. Yeah, I think there's this big misconception that the strategies just completely differ depending on your, region or where you're from. I always like to tell people that it's actually even more powerful if you're doing it in a smaller sort of circle. Like if you're going into a pool where it's not as saturated to do a lot of these different things, I think it's going to help students set themselves apart, stand apart a lot easier, and just be in a much better spot. So, and you obviously absolutely crushed it. So kudos to you, Juan. Like you are a killer student with the amount of offers that you got, with how quickly you progressed and everything else there too. I guess apart from like the support, like was there a specific element that you were looking for apart from that? Like when you were evaluating between us and course careers, like apart from the coaching, maybe anything else where you felt like, hey, this is what made me feel comfortable going with higher levels?
Definitely. So what I was looking for specifically at the beginning is trying to stand out. Like I was sending all of my CVs to a lot of companies. I was sending probably like 100 CVs without any strategy. There wasn't anything in place. Everything was all over the place. I was trying to find out ways specifically, as well as interview behavior and really knowing the verticals of the role as well. But trying to find ways to actually make managers see me, right? So trying to stand out from the crowd, basically. That's what I was trying to look into, and as well as paired with the training of what it takes to be an SDR, right? The different verticals from the role, the specific KPIs that you need to fulfill as an SDR. So I think it was really well compacted, the training. I really liked how you guys structured it. So that definitely ended up being the decision maker for me joining higher levels.
Nice. We're obviously very happy that you did. So I guess now that you've gone through the program, like, is there any section that you felt like was more valuable than the others? Like, is there any section where you felt like you got like something that maybe like just changed the game for you, that made everything a lot easier, or maybe some of the things that you were specifically looking for?
Oh, definitely. I think all of the course is really valuable, especially the meetings every week, the one-to-ones. Everything is really concise and to the point, where I get the most value of it. But I think the interview behavior and the way you guys structured speaking with managers, contacting managers as well, to being able to stand out, prospecting into the company, something that I really that really resonated with me, and I definitely overused the prospecting aspect of it, but which it really worked out at the end. But yeah, those are some of the things that I think really set me up well for success while joining higher levels and for the future as well.
Yeah, it's awesome. Obviously, we were super excited. I know, maybe sparing all the ins and outs, you got offers from like some of the best, if not the best, companies in the market. So Datadog, CrowdStrike, DocuSign, MongoDB, ultimately go with Mongo. I guess, two questions kind of around that. Maybe breaking it into earlier stage interviews, if there's anything you feel that you did to really just even get noticed and stand out and kind of really crush that portion of it. And then later we'll look at the second half. But maybe as a starting point for everyone's reference, you got interviews and offers at the best companies in the world right now. How did you even get your resume, noticed in a sea of tons of applicants?
No, definitely. And for me, it's something that I was struggling with, because I don't have a lot of practical experience. I mean, I don't have any sales background. I mean, I'm straight out of college, and it's sort of interesting to go about that. But definitely prospecting into the company, trying to contact the SDRs in the company, and trying to find out detailed things that could help me with some specific stuff that I could leverage into the interviews was really important as well. Contacting directly the managers, that was key, because what I think is that it made the process easier for them, because you're having someone that is being proactive about it and is trying to set the foot on the door and saying, "I'm here, I'm the one." So that I think was really crucial. And as well, meeting the team, like really caring for the company, putting your everything into it, learning the product. Well, I guess that's later down the route of the interviews, really learning the product, really doing your research, which there is tons of material in the course of how to research a company. And yeah, basically that is some of the things that I think were really important for me.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I know some of those companies as well, if not all of them, are pretty notorious for having really difficult, like, later stage interviews. So mock cold calls, different types of presentations, maybe even a full-on discovery call. For someone on the outside looking in, targeting those top tier companies that have those challenging final rounds, Obviously, you mentioned you had never done sales before. So if there's any takeaways or things you would give to someone outside looking in that really sets you apart in those final stages, I'm sure they'd love to hear, your advice on how you went in and crushed those sections.
Yeah, definitely. And this is some of the things that the course tackles really well, and some of the things I also spoke with you, Eric, throughout my whole process, which was amazing having the opportunity to speak with you as well. And I think it was trying to really dive deep into the information, into really researching the company, researching the way they do, for example, for the mock calls, trying to fill in what specific things they want. Do they use permission-based openness? So just filling those things as the company likes, and then adding also that part that I think the course really set me up well for that. It's that that ability to do research, that ability to call with prospects, to do discovery, to find all of these things from of these pains that companies might have that a product or a solution could come into hand. So yeah, definitely doing a lot of research was key for me, and speaking with some of the people in the company, and then what I did for me specifically is I contacted SDRs within the company, and I asked them, how does a usual cold call go for you? What are some of the pains your prospects are having right now, and how do you address them? How do you address objections during a cold call? So for me, it was a lot of knocking into the door into a lot of SDRs and a lot of account executives from companies, and really trying to find specific nuggets that could help me during the interview process.
I think it's very obvious, like, why you ended up having so many offers. Like, when you're doing stuff like that, when you're that proactive, when you're reaching out to people, I think that's the biggest thing. And I say this on almost every single like testimonial, but I really think that like the one thing that separates people, like the really successful students from the people who are maybe struggling, not doing so well, it's just like doing all these things that, even though there might not be like an immediate like ROI on it, you never know what's going on behind the scenes. So like even the fact that you reached out to somebody, they're probably talking internally. They're like, oh, hey, look, Juan is like really crushing it. He's doing all this extra legwork. Like that's something that really, really helps set a candidate apart. So kudos to you. I am curious too. Your situation is very, very unique. So you kind of like, you're applying to European companies, you're applying to North American companies, to South American companies. You're kind of like all over the world in a way. I guess going through these different interview processes, this is something that we hear a lot, is like people saying, hey, I don't know if I can do this because of my territory, because of my region, because I'm from Europe, because I'm from Asia, and all these different things. We've had students break in from all over the world, but I guess talking to you, who has literally gone through like several interview processes across these different territories, what do you think were the differences across those different ones, or were there any?
Yeah, for context, I got my offers. One Datadog offer was in Dublin. The other offer from CrowdStrike was in Barcelona, and then DocuSign and Mongo were here in Mexico City. So I think I started with Datadog, and once I got the specifics of it, the really the basics of the interview and the basics of what an SDR does, what are the verticals and everything, I think that really set me up well for all the companies that came after. So I think I don't think there are boundaries within territories for the interviews. I think what is taught in the program, it could really work for. I mean, I am a testimonial of that. It could really work for either Europe, North America, South America, you name it.
Nice. Yeah. I mean, I guess you're a testimony to that. But again, like you put in so much work, you crushed it. That is the prerequisite of this, is like you don't just join a program and then have a job like just land in your lap, right? Like you got to go out there and you got to do the work, and you did that. So no, I think that's like really solid advice, Juan. And I guess like for folks out there who maybe are in the same situation, maybe not, from North America, people who are like considering going into the field, maybe being limited by what they think is their region, or maybe somebody who is in a similar situation as you. Do you have any advice for anybody who's in that situation, or anybody who's considering maybe tech sales ascension or higher levels?
Definitely. I think, well, first of all, having a good program, it really set me up well for success. I know that there's a lot of people that could do without a program, which is pretty great. For me, it was really straightforward going into the program, going into these live meetings with you guys, with other people, having that that networking as well with other people within higher levels, which was also pretty good. That was some of the things that I also forgot to mention, is that I also perform cold calls within people from higher levels, just mock cold calls that you helped me out in the beginning, which was pretty great as well. So yeah, I think if I were to have one advice, is don't get demoralized if you don't get an offer. Keep grinding, keep contacting managers, keep putting yourself out there, because eventually it works out. And I mean, I've done it 3 times. I mean, it does eventually pay off, but if you need to put in the work, at the end of the day, as much as you put in, as much as you're going to get out.
Nice. I love it. I love it. Well, Juan, congrats on the offers. Congrats on Mongo. Absolutely incredible. Congrats. And we really appreciate the nuggets here. I think this is really, really solid. And I think for anybody out there who's watching, like, don't hesitate. I think don't let something as silly as like your territory define that you can't break into tech sales. There's still a ton of amazing opportunities out there, and Juan is a testimony to that. So I think this was killer. Eric, I don't know if you have any famous last words, but yeah, appreciate you taking the time, Juan.
Really excited for you. And yeah, no doubt, I think 6-12 months from now, you're going to be doing really, really well. I don't want to jinx it and say what my true thoughts are, but I know you're going to crush it, man. I'm really excited for you. So.
Thank you very much, guys. I mean, it's been a pleasure being at higher levels, forming a part of the community. Everything. It's been such an enjoyable ride. I cannot say anything bad about it. It's been amazing. So thank you. Kudos to you guys for putting this program together. I think it's great, and I think it's really great. I don't have any much else to say.